Well, 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 how the tables have turned. A few nights ago, we made a video talking about the Montreal Canadiens and how they could be helping out the Vancouver Canucks in their game against St. Louis. Well, they totally flubbed it, and they got destroyed by the St. Louis Blues. It was not a good game at all. And ultimately, I was kind of thinking, do we want to use the same tagline here? Because in today's Vancouver Canucks and New York Islanders game, you can very well say that my favorite team, the Vancouver Canucks, they have a great chance to help out Montreal and themselves in this game against the Islanders. And what do you know? They did it. They pulled it off. Vancouver just did Montreal a solid on this day in a very pretty victory over the New York Islanders 5-2. Now, what does this mean? Well, it now means that the Vancouver Canucks are still out of a playoff spot, but they're only 3 points behind of the St. Louis Blues. They do have one game in hand. They have overtaken the Calgary Flames with the win today against the Islanders. However, the Flames have a higher points percentage. They have 2 games in hand, and the Flames have also won 4 games in a row. So they are looking pretty strong as of late. Meanwhile, the New York Islanders, with this loss at the hands of the Canucks, they stay 1 point behind Montreal with another game played over Montreal. So, Habs Nation, you're welcome. That's Thatcher the Snatcher hockey for you, baby. Because I'm going to say this right here. This game, you saw a whole bunch of points out of guys, you saw some unlikely contributors step up on the score sheet, but this game was Thatcher Demko's game. Maybe not so much in the second and the third periods, but ultimately, the reason this game wasn't as lopsided as it probably should have been after the first period was because of Thatcher Demko. Cross creases, 2-on-1s, one-timers, and backdoor opportunities. Demko stopped everything in that first period, and coming off of another game where he played against New Jersey just 2 nights ago, I know a lot of Canucks fans were a little bit concerned. Hey, Demko's playing 2 games in a row. That's scary because he might get hurt again. Knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt again. The fact that he already survived a full 65-minute game effort plus an extended shootout against New Jersey wasn't enough for some Canucks fans. They were like, okay, we got to see some more out of him before we fully deem him back and healthy because we just don't know if Thatcher Demko's knee is going to give out again. But in this game, he totally showed off that he still has it and he can be confident with it. Just the way he extends his legs when he stops those backdoor opportunities. It's unlike any other goalie the Canucks have had, other than maybe prime Corey Schneider, which I guess is the comparison that most Canucks fans would immediately jump to, considering the American heritage and the draft position and the college education, whatever. We can skip over that, talk about that another day. But Thatcher Demko kept the Canucks in it, especially in the first period with all of those cross-crease attempts. Maxim Siplakov, Bo Horvat, oh my goodness, he robbed Bo Horvat right in front there. Anthony Duclair had a really nice chance out in front. Vancouver didn't really have much going for them in the first period outside of Thatcher Demko. But with some of those opportunities that were tossed towards the goal, the Isles legitimately could have been up, let's say, 2-0 at the end of the first. That wouldn't have been unrealistic. In the second, though, it is none other than Kiefer Sherwood who gets things started for the Vancouver Canucks off of a beautiful Quinn Hughes play. He gets the puck from Hronek, comes into the middle, he takes a shot, but it's a low shot, and Sherwood is right there in front to tip it by Ilya Sorokin. It's a perfect tip right along the ice there as it goes over to the right side after the shot came kind of middle, leaning left, and it was 1-0 Vancouver. I want to say here, too, just this little disclaimer right here. Kiefer Sherwood had 3 points today, 2 goals and an assist. I did have him on my primary fantasy team this year until I sold him at the trade deadline to get some draft picks in exchange. And guess who I'm playing off against in my final matchup here? I'm playing off against the guy that has Kiefer Sherwood. Now, it's not for the grand finals. We're actually battling for 5th place, which is kind of indicative of where my team finished up. But still, I traded this guy away for a draft pick in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and now he had a 3-point game in a week where he is playing off against my team. How unfortunate. Never mind that, I'm not cheering against Kiefer Sherwood, definitely not. But he did get things started for Vancouver with the opening goal. Quickly responding, though, the Islanders make it 1-1 off of a brutal turnover whilst the Canucks are on the power play. Quinn Hughes is at the point, and he tries to send a centering pass to Lekkerimaki, whom Hughes assumes is in the middle of the zone. Lekkerimiki's actually a little bit close to Hughes. Little miscalculation there, and the puck ends up getting centered to nobody. It gets picked off, and J.G. Pageau finds Casey Cizikas, who comes in on Thatcher Demko and scores right in tight. He chips it over Demko's glove. It's a beautiful shot. It's really tight, and it just works. Quinn Hughes definitely frustrated with himself after the goal goes in, so it's 1-1. Give it a few minutes and the game finds itself at 4-on-4, where Tony DeAngelo, yeah, that's right, Ivan Demidov's former teammate, ends up just roving around the blue line with the puck, throws it off to the side, centers it back for his teammates, it's tossed towards the goal, and on the rebound, DeAngelo is right there, pouncing on it and scoring, beating out the Canucks D and beating Thatcher Demco too. That's a KHL-style Tony DeAngelo goal if I've ever seen one, as it's now 2-1 New York at the halfway mark of the game. At this point, I'm kind of feeling the doomer vibes. Hey, the Vancouver Canucks, they're out. They're not going to continue this playoff push. They lose and their playoff odds drop to 6% or whatever it was. This is not good. But then, guess what? The big tipper comes back. It is Aatu this time. Kiefer Sherwood throws it back to Marcus Pettersson on the blue line, and he hammers a one-time drive towards the goal, and before it touches Ilya Sorokin, Aatu is there to tip it by the Isles netminder and make it 2-2. The former New York Islanders scoring in a pretty significant capacity for his new team. Everything just went right in this little exchange here. Then, at the end of the second period, this is where Derek Forbort gets in on the action one more time. It's an unexpected play out of one of the more underrated shooters the Canucks have, as Jake DeBrusk throws it into the middle for Forbort, who comes across and shoots across the grain on Sorokin with 23 seconds to go in the second period. He beats Sorokin, it's a 3-2 Vancouver lead, and then in the third period, all it took was 1 minute and 5 seconds for Teddy Blueger to go out there and give Vancouver a 2-goal lead. He brings the rush in himself. Puck gets thrown over to Connor Garland, who curls back. Garland throws it back over to Blueger, who's waiting at the faceoff circle, and he fires it by Sorokin. That's Sorokin's night. He's done. Marcus Hogberg is in for the rest of the third period, and inevitably it's Kiefer Sherwood who gets the empty netter. That's all she wrote here, folks. Patty Waugh and his New York Islanders had maybe some puck possession that was dangerous in the third period, but they just weren't able to get things done. They looked a lot more dangerous in the first period than they did in the third, honestly, and that's including an extended time where they had a 6-on-4-man advantage. Canucks were in the box, and of course Patty Waugh loves to pull his goalies, so he did that earlier, and ultimately didn't pay off, as Vancouver wins this game 5-2 and keeps the Islanders at bay, lowering their playoff odds down to a whopping, what's the new number here for the Islanders? They lost 10.2% on their playoff odds with this game. They're now down to 18.6. Montreal, you're welcome. Thatcher Demco sends his regards. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Canucks and Islanders game. I hope you enjoyed this Swedish Roll 9, and bye.